evening, you're watching Fiji Today. The Fijian economy is expected to grow by about 2% this year in 2011, which will be by far the best result for the past 5 years. This prospect has been made by the International Monetary Fund after meeting various stakeholders in the country.
An International Monetary Fund team led by Koshi Mathai, an economist from Sri Lanka, is in the country from October 24th. The team held discussions with the Fijian authorities and other stakeholders on 2011 Article 4 consultation. The team met with Attorney General Ayasaid Kayum, Governor of the Reserve Bank of Fiji Barry Whiteside, academia, development partner community and other parts of civil society during their stay. The expected economic growth of 2% has been projected by the team. Mathai says this growth can continue if structural reforms are accelerated.
Making sure that the macroeconomic situation remains stable. And the second thing would be implementing some structural reforms so that growth can take off.
The 2% growth has been projected after the team learned the increase in tourist arrivals and reforms in the sugar sector.
That team was making a projection for growth. We're at a little higher growth now. That is after having seen the tourist arrival numbers, which have been very strong. That is after having seen the sugarcane production, which has recovered sharply from 2010, where there was a sharp decline. So taking into account some of that new data, we have upgraded our forecast to around 2%.
The IMF team is also pleased with the reforms that have been implemented by the government.
We are very pleased to hear some of the things that government is doing. We've met with a lot of people over the last 2 weeks, and they've given us a lot of positive feedback about things that the government has done with respect to land policy, for instance, and in other areas with respect to construction of infrastructure. There are other initiatives like civil service reform, public enterprise reform. In all these areas, sugar sector reform, in all these areas, the plans seem very good and the progress good so far, and it's just a matter of continuing the implementation so that the fruits of the labor are achieved.
Mathai adds, if the government continues to be committed towards some of the structural reforms and revitalizing investor confidence, this will enhance prospects for Fiji. The mission will be preparing a report that the IMF's executive board will discuss in January next year.
Good news for consumers. The price of flour will be reduced in accordance with price control orders which come into effect today. Attorney General Ayasaid Kayum says the reduction will apply to ex-factory wholesale prices as well as retail prices.
So in terms of the reductions that's going to take place, the ex-factory prices per tonne of flour have been reduced from today by an average of 26% for normal flour, 25% for bakers, wholemeal, normal, wholemeal and sharps, and 23% for bakers flour, which is called 12% protein. These ex-factory prices will directly translate to parallel reductions in the retail prices of flour in shops. For the major urban centers around Fiji, the price of normal flour should decrease from $1.41, the current price per kilogram, to $1.04. Sharps would reduce from $1.43 to $1.08 per kilo. Prices, of course, will vary up to 16 cents per kilo for the more remote parts of Fiji due to the inclusion of delivery costs into the pricing structure. The decrease in flour prices is due primarily to the decrease of wheat prices on the international market. It is expected that within a week, the price of bread would consequently decrease, following an assessment by the Commerce Commission. We hope to get that assessment in by at least next week Friday, where we hope to make the announcement that the price of bread will also go down. We'll have to wait for a week for that. But the new prices should come into effect from today.
Investor confidence by foreign tourism business entrepreneurs is an indication of Fiji's attractive and friendly business incentives by the Bainimarama government.
Prime Minister Commodore Vurengem Bainimarama this morning officiated at the groundbreaking ceremony of the new WorldMark resort on Denarau Island in Nadi. Costing more than $100 million, the project will be constructed by local company Pacific Building Solutions with civil works starting in a few weeks' time. The Prime Minister was accorded a brief traditional ceremony of welcome by the chiefs and people of Denarau village.
Gentlemen, the groundbreaking ceremony for Stage 3 development of this Wyndham property is an indication and manifestation of the growth and indeed confidence in the tourism industry. This $49 million project will, on completion, offer improved services, increased room inventory, and give the entire property a facelift. It will also further consolidate the Wyndham and WorldMark's timeshare arrangements in the Fiji tourism industry. It will provide another boost to the industry as a whole. I thank and acknowledge the confidence of the Wyndham executives. You can be rest assured that my government will continue to provide a conducive environment for commercial growth and at the same time build mechanisms for the benefit of all Fijians.
Redevelopment and extensive renovations will include construction of 63 spacious and luxurious style of accommodation ranging from 1 and 2 bedroom deluxe apartments to presidential villas with private pools.
You will be in good company, as it is expected that the $75 million refurbishment and new look Grand Pacific Hotel will also be completed in 2013. But yours, I understand, will be completed before theirs.
Join us again after the break.